Just ahead on CTV News, people are flooding to the tidal basin to see the cherry blossoms.
The nation's capital's most iconic trees are in full bloom. I'm Katara Jones. I'll have all those details coming up on CTV News.
Plus, State's Attorney Aisha Braveboy is launching a new initiative targeting Latino youth. And the Lady Terps get a March Madness send-off. Those stories and more next.
Good evening. This is CTV News for Wednesday, March 20th. I'm Patricia Vallone.
And I'm Byron Scott. Thank you for joining us. Well, grab your camera and your walking shoes because our area's beloved cherry trees are blooming.
CTV's Katira Jones is in the nation's capital with more.
I'm along the tidal basin, and hundreds of people have come near and far to see one thing, and that is these beautiful cherry blossoms. And thanks in part to the good weather that we're having, the trees have officially reached its peak bloom period.
The trees are very, very beautiful. I'm glad that we're here in spring so that, yeah, the trees are so beautiful. Yeah, and I also really like the water. It's, yeah, looks really nice.
It's been a long time since I've personally been down here, so it was great to come out here today with my mom and just experience this whole experience. Seeing these cherry blossoms is actually beautiful. So I'm glad I came today.
I am amazed, and I'm amazed that we have been able to keep this treasure going and blooming for so many years. It's a great national treasure.
So as a photographer, when you come out here, what do you see?
I see just endless possibilities because I'm taking pictures of the actual cherry blossom, but also the people enjoying it, because I see weddings, I see graduations, I see people with different garb on that actually enjoying this time of year. I think it brings a lot of happiness to our area, and sometimes we need that.
The National Park Service says depending on the weather conditions, the cherry blossoms may remain in bloom for about 10 days after the peak bloom period. Katara Jones, CTV News.
And the annual National Cherry Blossom Festival Parade is set for Saturday, April 13th from 10 a.m. until noon. Well, the U.S. Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals breaks barriers with its first openly LGBTQ judge. Nicole Berner has been appointed by President Biden to fill the vacancy created when Judge Diana Gribbin-Motz took senior status in September 2022. Berner was supported by more than 25 major labor unions and 60 advocacy groups. She'll represent Maryland on the Fourth Circuit, which also hears appeals from West Virginia, as well as North and South Carolina. It's one of 13 circuit courts that sits just below the U.S. Supreme Court.
And State's Attorney Aisha Braveboy is launching a leadership series aimed at Latino youth. It's called Que Pasa, and the first session, which is virtual, is set for tonight. The sessions will focus on issues that are impacting youth, such as crime, gang violence, and academic needs.
This will be a series of discussions. We will do workshops, have information sharing, but more importantly, this is a chance for these young people to be empowered, to let us know what they need, what's going on in their lives, how we can best assist them, and how the government can strategically work with young people to help them make better decisions.
Again, the first session set for tonight, 6:30 on Zoom. To log on, go to PGSAO News on Facebook, Instagram, and X. And a Hyattsville man has pleaded guilty to his role in a deadly attempted robbery that occurred in Hyattsville last April. According to prosecutors, 29-year-old Alex Quinteros and his girlfriend robbed two brothers who were leaving a check-cashing business in Hyattsville with nearly $2,000 on hand. The suspects followed the men to their home where they struggled and sued, and one of the brothers, 24-year-old Rudy Gutierrez, was shot and killed. Quinteros faces up to 50 years behind bars. His girlfriend has already pleaded guilty to her role and faces 10 years in prison. The two will be sentenced in May.
The owner of a 3-year-old Pomeranian says she fears for the safety of her Temple Hills community after her dog was attacked by an American bulldog on Sunday. Darlene Hall's fiancé, Richard Cobb, was walking the Pomeranian on a leash on Huntley Square Drive when the bulldog allegedly attacked. Its owner, Stefan Johnson, claims he left his front door open and witnessed the attack before intervening. According to the police report, Cobb was bitten and the Pomeranian suffered significant injuries. Hall plans to take legal action in civil court for the medical bills, plus the physical and emotional trauma she, her fiancé, and her dog have experienced. Prince George's Animal Management has not commented on the incident.
A report published by a coalition of civil rights groups says that Congress has not passed any meaningful civil rights legislation. The analysis of the current Congress was conducted by the Leadership Conference on Civil and Human Rights Records, Voting Records. The organization blames, quote, a deeply divided Congress for the lack of action on civil rights legislation. The House is currently controlled by Republicans 219 to 213. Democrats have a slim majority in the Senate. According to the organization, the last time Congress passed civil rights legislation that was signed into law, that was the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act of 2022.
Maryland health officials applied to be among the first participants of a new federal program called the AHEAD model. The program will help fund initiatives to improve patient outcomes and bridge inequities while also constraining hospital and medical costs. Maryland has a similar model it uses with its hospital rate setting program, but funds for it are due to expire in December 2026. If selected as one of the first 5 states in the new federal program, the state could transition to the AHEAD model as soon as January 2026.
And police need your help in finding a missing woman. This is 23-year-old Uchichi Nkemdirim. She was last seen on the 11,000 block of Baltimore Avenue in Beltsville at around 8 a.m. on Monday. Nkemdirim is 5 feet 6 inches tall, weighs 120 pounds. Police say she was last seen wearing a black hooded jacket, a light green long-sleeve shirt, black pants, and pink shoes. Anyone with information on her whereabouts is asked to call police at 301-772-8970. And you're watching CTV News. I'm Byron Scott.
And I'm Patricia Valone. Still to come, DUI offenders may soon get another chance behind the wheel of life.
Details after the break. Stay tuned.
Did you know that Asian and Pacific Islander American students often face broad challenges when it comes to accessing higher education? Financial barriers and language barriers can make pursuing a college degree seem impossible. The Asian American stereotype of a monolithic middle-class, high-achieving group is just that, a stereotype. But that's where APIA Scholars comes in. For the last 20 years, APIA Scholars has been helping students overcome these challenges and achieve their dreams of obtaining a college education. APIA Scholars has awarded over 8,000 scholarships, with 73% of them going to first-generation students, 60% of those living below the poverty line. APIA Scholars is empowering the next generation of APIA leaders. I'm proud to support APIA Scholars in their mission to make college more accessible to APIA students. Will you join me? Visit apiascholars.org to learn more about how you can make a difference in the lives of APIA students.
Welcome back. Well, Baltimore City sues Eli Lilly and a group of other drug companies in a federal racketeering lawsuit. The suit alleges that the drug makers conspired to artificially hike the price of insulin, leading to heightened insurance costs. That's caused people with diabetes to sometimes ration their medication, eventually putting a strain on emergency services and medical facilities. Baltimore joins a growing number of states and local governments that have filed similar lawsuits.
And for the 4th time in 5 years, lawmakers in Annapolis are attempting to shore up the horse racing industry and bring upgrades to Pimlico Racetrack. Current legislation would use $400 million to rebuild Pimlico and construct a new training facility. Maryland Matters is reporting that there is some apprehension on the part of some lawmakers who have raised concerns about ongoing costs. Senate President Bill Ferguson says more conversations will be needed to allay apprehensions regarding costs by some lawmakers, adding any deal is far from done.
For more than a decade, several Maryland lawmakers have been working to help those convicted of crimes who have paid their dues to get a second chance at life. Legislation now allows most nonviolent offenses to be expunged from records after a certain amount of time has passed. But those with drunk driving offenses haven't been so lucky. Up until now, a strong lobby has prevented expungement of those records. But that could change this year with SB 118. The measure just passed the Senate this week and is now in the House.
This bill deals with those who get a DUI. Generally, it's on their record forever. It could have been 20, 30 years ago. It's just there. It stops them from getting certain jobs, living certain places, etc. I am very proud of the bill that now says they can appeal for an expungement. After 15 years of having their record clear, they can appeal not just for shielding, but for a total expungement so that they can move on with life.
And the bill, sponsored by Senators Muse and Hettleman, is currently in the House Judiciary Committee.
A Maryland man has been arrested for allegedly flashing shoppers at 2 malls in Virginia. Investigators say 29-year-old Jamal Mathis exposed himself in the store at Springfield Mall in October, and again police say in January at the Four Oaks Mall. Mathis, who was detained by police and later released, has been charged with indecent exposure. Anyone who may have information about the case should call 1-866-411-8477.
Baltimore's new $1 billion jail will be the most expensive state-funded project in Maryland history, according to the Baltimore Banner. The proposed Baltimore Therapeutic Treatment Center would be a hybrid jail, hospital, mental health, and substance use treatment facility for people facing criminal charges. The state says it needs the new 854-bed facility to comply with the 2016 settlement of a decades-old lawsuit, which challenged the constitutionality of health care in Baltimore jails. And still to come here on CTV News, March Madness scams are on the rise.
Plus, a trio of reptiles is looking for a forever home in our Pet of the Week. You don't want to miss it. Stay tuned.
Let's go.
Good morning, friends. Today is Thursday, and everybody knows what that means.
Ozark is a therapy dog who goes to children's hospitals and schools. I like how she listens and pays attention. She calms people down after overwhelming days, and she's super soft and cuddly. Ozark makes me feel happy. Purina believes in the power of touch therapy dogs to provide comfort and support and reduce stress and anxiety. That's why Purina is supporting more touch therapy dogs like Ozark to make a difference in the lives of patients, students, and kids like me. Purina cares here.
And it's Wednesday. You know what that means. It's time for our Pet of the Week, or shall we say Pets of the Week. Meet Bessie Coleman, Michelle Obama, and Billie Jean. They are bearded dragons. Animal management says the dragons are low-maintenance pets.
All they pretty much need is an enclosure with a heat lamp. As you know, lizards or reptiles can't regulate their body temperature by themselves. Their diet consists of dry fruit, vegetables, and pellets. So they do need to eat a balanced diet to be healthy.
And if you'd like to adopt Bessie or Michelle or Billie Jean or any of their cold-blooded friends, call Animal Management 301-780-7200.
Well, March Madness is here, and the Maryland Attorney General's office wants to make sure consumers are aware of scams and aggressive marketing campaigns. In Maryland, the only legal wagering on sporting events is through sports wagering operators licensed and regulated by the state. There are currently 13 retail locations where you can legally wager. Bettors can also go online with one of 11 websites or mobile apps licensed in the state as well. Now, you can visit mdgaming.com to find out whether a website, app, or business is licensed. And now here is Simon Buggs with a preview of the Wednesday sports page.
What's shaking, Simon?
What's up, sports fans? I'm here in College Park, where I got the chance to see the send-off for the women's basketball team ahead of their first game of the March Madness tournament. I'll have that story for you and more in a bit. Stay right there.
Being a cowboy, I don't know anything different from when I was 3 or 4 years old. I did tough things. I thought everybody needed to do tough things, and if you didn't, I didn't have time for it. I had a very successful career at a very young age, and life was fast. I was preparing physically. I wasn't doing anything mentally on the inside. And then I got hurt. I wanted to be better as a person, and I really dug into mental health. I start my day with 20-minute workouts. I live life 8 seconds at a time. Horses are so therapeutic. They know what you're feeling. When you're nervous, they're nervous. You won't say it back, but we're pals. I take a lot of responsibility in taking care of my kids, my family, and being there for them. You're gonna have tough days. Everybody does. Find a place to stop and just breathe. Love your mind.
Okay, everybody, get ready because it's time for your Wednesday sports page. We begin with some college baseball news. The UMD baseball team took the diamond yesterday afternoon for their 21st game of the season against James Madison. The Terps had a tough time scoring in the first inning, but in the second inning, the offense came alive as this hit by outfielder Elijah Lambros resulted in an RBI as infielder Jacob Orr was able to make it to home plate, giving the Terps their first run of the game. And soon after, freshman utility player Chris Akopian singled to left field and also got an RBI in the process as another utility player in Braden Martin was able to score. And Chris's brother, infielder Eddie Hakopian, was able to put the Terps out in front as this hit by him resulting in 2 runs scored put them ahead 4-3 going into the third inning. Fast forward to the 8th inning, the Terps were able to take the lead again as this bunt from infielder Jordan Crossland caused another RBI for the Terps, and they were now up 5-4 on the Dukes. And Chris Akopi made another nice play as he homered to left field, and this big hit led to 4 runs for the Terps to put them ahead 9-4. And the Dukes couldn't recover, and Maryland came out on top in this one 9-5. This is the Terps' 3rd win in a row. They are now 16-5 on the season and will take the diamond next against a Big Ten foe at Michigan State on Friday. Moving on to college hoops, the University of Maryland held their send-off today for the women's basketball squad as they will travel to California to take on Iowa State in the first round of the March Madness tournament. This will be the first time the Lady Terps will match up against the Lady Cyclones this season, as well as the team's 14th straight trip to the tournament. The game will take place on Friday at 7:30. Good luck to the Lady Terps in their quest to take home the national championship. And sticking with more Terp sports news, the softball team won their 3rd game in a row yesterday, taking down James Madison 6-5. Their next opponent will be Minnesota on Friday. And that wraps up your Wednesday sports page. From College Park, Simon Buggs, CTV Sports. Back to you.
Thanks, Simon. And now let's get a look at our weekend weather forecast. Tonight, there are strong winds. We're under a red flag warning until 8 p.m. with clear skies and a low of 32.
Tomorrow will be clear and sunny with a high of 48. Friday, the sunshine continues, temps reaching 52 during the day and falling to 44 at night. Saturday will reach a high of 55, but you may want to stay inside as a 90% chance of rain.
And now for your community calendar. Harmony Hall Arts Center is celebrating Women's History Month with a screening of the movie On the Basis of Sex. The film details the life of young wife, mother, and lawyer Ruth Bader Ginsburg as she battles the U.S. Supreme Court for gender equality and women's rights. The screening takes place tomorrow from 7 to 10:30 p.m. For more information, call 301-203-6070.
And that's our news for tonight. I'm Byron Scott.
And I'm Patricia Vallone. Join us again tomorrow. We'll see you then.